Hey everybody, what's going on? Drewzy here. Today we're hitting up another brand new Smite video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my top 5 hunter breakdown of all the hunters currently available in the game. As of right now, when I'm recording this video, we are currently in 4.8 is the update currently on console right now, which is what I play on. I play on the Xbox, as you probably can tell from the intro. So I'm going to be breaking down my top 5 hunters currently in this game. So here are currently the hunters currently right now in Smite. As you can see here, there are 12 here on this first page and 4 on the second page for a total of 16 hunters currently right now in Smite. And out of those 16, I'm only going to be picking my top 5 of them. So, you know, there's a wide variety. There's a lot of different reasons as to why I picked the gods that I chose. Here's the 4 that you see here on the second page. As we go back to the 12. So I'm going to be narrowing down my top 5 out of these 16 hunters. Now again, I'm not saying that these are necessarily the best, these are just the best in my opinion, so I'm sure some of you are going to disagree with the selections I'm going to make. So if you do, leave a comment in the section below and tell me why you think I'm wrong. But it doesn't matter, because I think that I chose a good 5, and I'm going to explain to you why I chose each 5 of them when I get to that. So we're going to go ahead and start with number 5 currently on the countdown. So for my number 5 hunter, I went with Cupid. And I know what a lot of you are going to be thinking, why in the hell would you choose Cupid, Drew? Cupid is not used primarily in, the pros don't seem to use him very often. He's not widely used a lot of times as a hunter class in this game, but he is my favorite god in this game, number 1, and I'm an unbiased person, so I'm not going to pick him as number 1. Even though he's the first god I got to rank 10, he's the most worshippers that I have in the entire game currently, but hunter is as a hunter, Cupid is extremely viable in his own right. He has an amazing ultimate, and we go to the abilities here. There's a lot of reasons as to why he's a valuable god in this game. His passive gives him stacks up to 2% buff of max 8 stacks for both damage and healing, which is viable for multiple of his abilities, as well as it provides a stun if it max stacks on both his ultimate and his hard bomb attack, which is his primary ability. So I mean, Cupid can just pump out a lot of damage, and people don't give him the credit he deserves. He's a very squishy god, he doesn't have a lot of health, so you gotta be careful when you play with him, but Cupid is still a very viable god in this game and needs to be respected, in my opinion, because I love Cupid. I think he's amazing, and there are a lot of people that play well with him. I've seen him played vastly in arena and all the other objective-based modes, but he's not extremely popular, so that's why a lot of people would probably not put him in this top 5, but I'm going to. So his ultimate, Fields of Love, one of the strongest abilities in the game. His Flutter is super valuable for both himself and for his own team. It gives him an attack speed boost, and it also gives him a movement speed boost for him and anyone that walks through his trail that he leaves behind him. His Share the Love does good healing. It doesn't do phenomenal healing, but it does do good healing. He also gets more mana in return for spending it, so it's a good sustain for him. If he casts it out, it only costs him up to 50 mana to cast, and he gets 90 in return if all 3 hearts are picked up. And it also heals, so he's got good sustain in long range matches as well. I've soloed with him. I'm not saying it's highly effective, but I've done it. So Cupid is viable, in my opinion, in a wide variety of areas, which is why I put him in this top 5. And now I'm quickly going to give you some suggestions for 2 items I would suggest you use with Cupid to give him the highest potential to be successful in any match type that you're playing. So the first item I'm going to suggest for you guys is Bloodforge. The reason why I chose Bloodforge is for a couple different reasons. Number 1, it is the best physical lifesteal item currently in Smite. They've done a phenomenal job making it so much better. And because, again, as I mentioned earlier, Cupid is very squishy. He dies very easily. Bloodforge is going to give him that blood shield when he gets a kill. It's going to give him a nice boost to physical power and a nice boost to lifesteal ability. So in my opinion, you need to have Bloodforge to make Cupid effective in any game mode. It's almost a necessity. It is an expensive item, so be cautious on when to get him. I would suggest getting him in your first 3 or 4 items that you get with Cupid, but you're definitely going to want Bloodforge. You're also going to want a lot of attack speed, but Bloodforge with some attack speed boost definitely makes Cupid viable. The second item I would suggest is Rage, and the reason why I suggested Rage is because not only is it a cheap crit item, but you need at least 2 crit items with Cupid, in my opinion, to be effective with them, and Rage has got a nice buff that they gave in a recent update that hi-rez did, to where its passive is just so nice. It gives you a nice increase to crit chance. It has good physical power boost and crit chance already with it defaultly, along with the nice increase and the cost. It's just very effective. I love Rage right now. It's one I'm using with a lot of my hunters, and I think with Cupid, it just makes them that much stronger. So I would suggest Rage and Bloodforge. Those are the two items I would definitely suggest you use with Cupid. So number 4 on the countdown, we have Hou Yi. I went with Hou Yi for a couple of different reasons as well. I like Hou Yi because he's great in a lot of objective-based matches. Joust especially, he's probably the best Joust hunter, definitely one of them in my opinion. He also has great damage potential. He can pump out a ton of damage if spec'd correctly and built right, and he has the best escape out of any hunter in the entire game, and one of the best escapes in my opinion in the entire game. So Hou Yi, definitely worthy of a top 5 pick. And his abilities, also very strong. His Ricochet and his Mark of the Crowned Crow, if spec'd together, can provide a very crucial stun for him, and just has significant damage potential. Ricochet is also phenomenal at clearing out minions, so he has good clearage, he has great damage potential, and his escape ability with his third ability, Dive Bomb, it's so good. Dive Bomb is a phenomenal ability. So we look down here, we look at his ultimate. Now, the one flaw, in my opinion, with Hou Yi is his ultimate. Sunbreaker, they gave a nice boost a couple updates ago early in Season 4 where they gave him the slow ability, which is here 20%. That really helped him. But Sunbreaker to me, because it's a low area, it's not a huge damage dealing item for a ultimate, so I think it's his only flaw. It really, in my opinion, is his only major flaw. His passive's not overwhelming either. Sunscorched only allows him to not be multi-crit within a certain time period. So his passive and his ultimate to me are not devastating, but his ultimate, if used correctly in the right situation, can do a ton of damage. So it's still very useful. That's why I like it in small team fights like a Joust, maybe Clash. I've seen it used well in Arena, things like that. Dive Bomb, again, the best escape, in my opinion, probably out of any hunter, and maybe one of the best in the entire game. You have complete movement in any direction, which is what makes it so phenomenal, in my opinion. And it does pretty good damage if you land with it. I would not suggest using Dive Bomb to initiate, however, because then you're basically fucked. I mean, Hou Yi has no other way of getting out. He has very slow base movement speed, so you need Dive Bomb to use it more as an escape, to get out of an Odin ultimate, to get out of sticky situations. You're not CC immune, however, so be careful using it around someone like a Willix. She will still pull you. Ares will still pull you with his ultimate, so be cautious of that. Don't use Dive Bomb to try to just get out of any CC pull. It's not going to work. You're going to fail. But here are 2 items I would highly suggest you use with Hou Yi to best use him and be highly effective with him in any match type. So for item number 1, I went with King Sai. I went with King Sai, again, because as I mentioned earlier with Hou Yi, he has very high damage potential. I think King Sai really elevates him and allows him to pump out that extra damage. It's going to give you a nice boost of physical power. It's going to give you some boost of attack speed. If you're going for more attack speed, this is not the item for you. You'd go with something like Executioner, which is in the same tree, or you go, a couple of different routes. You dis his bow, things like that. But King Sai, going to give you that power boost, going to help you do more damage to tank your enemies. It's just great. It's going to increase your basic attack damage, things like that. I really like it on Hou Yi. And there's Execution, like I said. If you're going for more attack speed, that is the better item out of this tree, in my opinion, because it's also going to lower their immunities to physical damage. So then you're just going to be able to pump out more damage and do more attack speed. But King Sai, so strong. I really like it with Hou Yi. It's one of the items I use pretty much in any build, on any match type with him. For the second item, I went with Deathbringer. Again, Deathbringer is going to give you the most damage potential with a crit item. It is extremely expensive, again. So you're going for a longer match type, it's going to be effective. But if you're just going for a short match type like Arena, you may not be able to afford it. You can go with Rage. Malice also is very good in the same tree. But I like Deathbringer, I like King Sai. With those 2 items and a couple more attack speed items, you're just going to pump out so much damage with Hou Yi if you use his abilities in the right order. Those are the 2 items I would suggest using with Hou Yi. So for number 3 on the countdown, I went with Neith. Neith primarily went with, due to the fact that number 1, she is the most used hunter in the game for obvious reasons, because she's free. You don't have to pay for her or buy her. And when you first install the game, first get the game, even if you don't, buy the God Pack, you get Neith for free. And because she's the highest sustained hunter in the game, without question. I mean, if anyone wants to argue that, they're just stupid. She has insane sustain, which you obviously see in her pros, and she does a good amount of damage. She has some good crowd control. She has good damage potential. She's just great at sustain. She's great in objective-based modes. She can be used in pretty much any objective-based mode. She's good in Arena as well, but she really shines, in my opinion, in Conquest, in Joust, and things like that, in Siege. So I would highly suggest using her mostly in objective-based modes, a little bit more than Arena. I think she loses a little bit of something in Arena, but still extremely viable. So we're looking at her abilities here. She has a lot of flexibility with her ability. Spirit Arrow is her best ability, it's her primary ability. It gives a stun out, it does a good amount of damage. You can use it to clear minions, you can use it to do substantive, a ton of damage to an enemy god. Her backflip isn't the greatest escape. It can get her out of sticky situations like a Cabrakan ultimate, things like that. It's just going to make her go backwards, and then once she lands, she's pretty much fucked. I mean, you're not getting increased movement speed or anything with it. Whirlweaver, her ultimate, extremely powerful. If you fully charge it, it can do a devastating amount of damage, and it can hit any god that's not behind a wall or blocked by another enemy god. So if you're going to hit it, if you're shooting at one god, it's not going to just heat sink to them. It's going to hit whatever god jumps in front of them, and if they get behind a wall and run, backside of a wall, then you're never going to hit them. But Whirlweaver, super nice, can be shot from crazy distance on a map, and it's just highly, highly effective. But with Spirit Arrow, Whirlweaver, her sustain, her damage potential, she's just an all-around phenomenal god. You can put things like weaves down, which was what her passive basically does. Backflip is one of the only ones I know of that can place a weave down. Then you use Spirit Arrow or Unravel to break the weave, and then it just does devastating damage if you hit someone with a weave. I wouldn't highly suggest focusing on that. You can just use her basic attacks, and just basic attacks if built correctly, and she does devastating damage on her own. So, broke down Neith a little bit, and now I'm going to tell you 2 items I would suggest you use with Neith to be effective with her. So for the first item I would suggest with Neith, Transcendence. Transcendence is an item that's used a lot with hunters in Arena. I don't think Transcendence should ever be used in Arena, that is my honest opinion. It does give you great basic attack, boost, damage, and it helps sustain, which again, the big pro of Neith is sustain. Transcendence is going to make her sustain for a crazy amount of time. If you're playing in the objective-based mode, Transcendence is a must-have with Neith to be ultra-effective in objective-based modes. But this is the only god, in my opinion, that I would highly suggest use Transcendence with. The other hunters you can use it in other situations because, again, it gives you a nice boost to damage, and the mana increase is very nice because a lot of hunters really need that. But Transcendence with that extra mana boost, with that extra damage, it's just going to make Neith a sustaining monster. So, in my opinion, Transcendence is a must-have with Neith in pretty much all modes. Not so much in Arena, more so than in all the objective-based modes that she excels in. So I would highly suggest Transcendence is my first item. The other item, Jotun's Wrath. Jotun's Wrath is the best pen item, in my opinion, for the hunter. It gives you a great cooldown reduction. It gives you some base pen. It gives you some physical power, and that mana is highly undervalued. But it's more the cooldown reduction, in my opinion, is the most valuable part. There's not a lot of cooldown reduction items for hunters, but this is the best one, in my opinion. So you just get everything you almost need in one item. It's fairly cheap. It doesn't cost you a lot. I'd get it as soon as possible. Get it as like your second, third, definitely in your first 3 items, in my opinion, in any mode. Jotun's Wrath, Transcendence, you're going to have a good time. But those are my items I'd suggest with Neith. Alright, for number 2, I went with Artemis. And this was a tough toss-up between 1 and 2 with the gods that I've selected, but Artemis I put in there for 3 main reasons. Her ultimate is phenomenal. Her second ability is one of the best hunter abilities in the entire game, and she has a phenomenal passive that really helps her second ability shine. Artemis is great in any team fight-based scenario. She's great paired with someone like an Ares that can pull and contain people. She's not as effective, in my opinion, in Arena, but she's phenomenal in all objective-based modes. She's one of the best Clash hunters, in my opinion. But her ultimate, the Boar, will stun multiple enemies, does good damage, and it's just great at sustaining, getting her out of a tricky situation. And one of the highly undervalued parts of it is she's CC immune while casting it. So it's like having almost 2 beads. Not only are you going to do some damage, you're going to help yourself in that department, but you're CC immune. Her Vengeful Assault, the best ability, in my opinion, for any hunter in this game. Huge increase to attack speed at 80% at max, and it just does so much damage. She can just devastate people with that attack speed boost because it lasts for forever. It feels like it lasts forever, and I just love Vengeful Assault. It's one of the main reasons why I put her so high, is because Vengeful Assault is just phenomenal. Her Vengeful Assault with her ultimate, and then it just makes her passive just that much better. So, you know, you need Vengeful Assault. You really need to utilize it and use it as much as possible with Artemis. Just don't undervalue it, don't undersell it. If the cooldown's done, use it again. If you have the mana to use it, use it. Because as you see here with her passive, she gets a crit chance boost for every basic attack she hits with, and it increases and stacks as she doesn't crit. So with high attack speed with Vengeful Assault, 80%, she's going to crit so much. So if you give her a crit item, you have a base increase, you know, crit increase percentage, and then you're just going to, with her Vengeful Assault, you're just going to just devastate everybody. You're just going to do so much damage. That's one of the main reasons why I like Artemis. Her one big flaw, she has no escape. So, you know, use that as you will. You're not going to be getting out of old ultimates. You're going to be doing having lots of damage done to you. But I'm going to go ahead and show you 2 items that I would highly suggest you use with her. And the first one, Hasten Vitalis. I chose Hasten Vitalis for a variety of different reasons. She needs that movement speed because she's very slow. She doesn't have an escape, so you're going to need to be able to get out of it. She's going to get a high attack speed boost, and the pen. They've really kind of hindered Hasten Vitalis, hi-rez has in the last couple of updates because they keep increasing the cost of it. The value is just there, but it's almost a necessity in my opinion with Artemis. You need the boost movement speed, you need the attack speed, and you need that base pen. So Hasten Vitalis, out of the 2 items with her, it's almost a complete and utter necessity in my opinion. 2 movement items is nice. You definitely need boots, and you just need Hasten Vitalis. If you have those 2 items, because it just gives you everything you need, it gives you movement speed, gives you attack speed, and gives you a little bit boost to base pen at 10% at plus 10. So it's just all around a phenomenal item, and Artemis, in my opinion, very much needs it. The second item, Bloodforge. I really love Bloodforge again because it's the best physical lifesteal item currently in the game, in my opinion, and because Artemis is a very squishy god as well as some of the other hunters I've showcased. So Bloodforge, it's going to give her that insane survivability, and the fact that she has that increased base attack speed with Vengeful Assault. Bloodforge is going to have more opportunities to be activated because you're going to just get that increased lifesteal with it. So those are the 2 items I would suggest you use with Artemis. So finally, my number 1 hunter in this top 5 breakdown was, drumroll please, Medusa. So Medusa won my top 5 breakdown for a variety of different reasons. At first, I didn't really think, I put Medusa in the top 5, but I didn't have her this high until I really played her a little bit more, and I really realized just how awesome she really is. She has an amazing ultimate. She has the best passive out of any hunter in this entire game. Her Petrify, as you see here, her ultimate, it just does devastating damage. It stuns any god staring directly at her, and then it does good slow and damage to anyone that's not staring at her. But when you use any kind of god that has a pull like an Ares or a contain like an Odin or anything like that, it's just going to do so much damage. Her ultimate is just so devastating. With those 2, with those types of gods, those kind of support gods, they can really help her shine and do just devastating damage with it. And it can be used in a situation where you just need a one-on-one kill. It just does so much job. It's so much of a great job for you to help you kill a god in a one-on-one situation, in a multi-team fight situation. It's so good. Sidewinder, the passive, the best passive out of any hunter in this game, because she gets no movement penalty in any direction. The biggest problem for a lot of hunters is fighting against assassins, getting out of danger, getting boxed out to death. But with Sidewinder, you have additional movement around, ability to just get out of tricky situations. It's just so good. It's so undervalued in my opinion, and it's one of the main reasons why I have her so high. Is her passive, is her ultimate, as well as her other abilities just complement her very well, and she can do a devastating amount of damage. So, that's one of the main reasons why I picked Medusa first. She's great in objective-based modes, she's great in arena, she's just great all around. I mean, she may or may not, in your opinion, be the best hunter. I think she is definitely in the top 5 for no question, but to me, she's very, very good. So, as you see here with her Viper Shot, she gets a nice increase to attack speed, so she gets an attack speed buff as well. Nowhere near as good as Artemis's, but it does an 80% attack speed buff for the 3 Vipers she shoots. Now, granted, you can hold on to those Viper Shots. As long as you don't do any kind of attacking, you can do it later. And then her Acid Spray as a great minion clearer, is great for helping her sustain, build up, Transcendence, things like that in objective-based modes. So, all around, her abilities just really complement her, make Medusa just very, very strong. So now I'm going to show you 3 items. that I would highly suggest you use with Medusa, as I've done with all the other gods so far. So the number one item, Hasten Vitalis, without question, needs to be used, because if you use Hasten Vitalis with her passive, she is devastating. She's just devastating. So, you know, you're going to get that extra movement speed. She already doesn't have a movement penalty, so you're giving her more movement, you're giving her more attack speed, and more base pen. Hasten Vitalis is a must in any build, in any game mode, to make Medusa as nearly impossible to kill as possible. Without it, she's still viable, but in my opinion, Hasten Vitalis is a must-have item. So that is definitely the first one. Second one, I would suggest Keen Sai. She has a lot of versatility with her build that you can use a lot of different items. But Hasten Vitalis is a must in my opinion. Keen Sai just helps her do devastating damage. I've seen a lot of people when they use Medusa use Keen Sai, and they've been highly effective. I've been highly effective with it, so I would suggest Keen Sai. It's not a must, but any attack speed boost along with her Hasten Vitalis, it's just going to do so much damage. So Keen Sai, Hasten Vitalis, two phenomenal items to make Medusa great. So there it is, guys. That's the video. That's my top 5. Medusa coming out on top. So again, please let me know in the comment section if you disagree with the choices that I made. I'm sure you guys will. There are lots of great hunters in this game. I'm not saying these are the only great hunters. All of them have their value, but these are my top 5 for a variety of different reasons, because they're great in different objective modes. They have great skills and abilities that really help them shine, and they can just do devastating damage. So those are my top 5 hunters. Really enjoyed doing this video for you guys. I'm going to be doing a lot more videos on this channel. This is probably the first one I'm going to post. So, you know, I'm just getting started. The videos will get better as I go along, but I hope you guys really enjoyed this channel. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already to the channel. I'm going to be doing a lot more stuff, mostly Smite here to start, but again, had a lot of fun doing it. Please leave a comment if you disagree. My name's Drewzy, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.